how everyone is doing. Hey, bud, good morning. Good morning, good morning. All right, just maybe one more minute, and then we'll start the session. All right, let's get this thing started. Let me just close the door. All right, so let's look at the market first. What's going on? All right, I think we found the problem. Seems to be like QQQE. All right, um, we'll do it this way. All right, so let's review the market first. So first step is always the price action. That's the most important thing in my system and in my process. So I shared that before the close yesterday, but basically, um, so we have that structure right here. So if you look at that high was made following the low, then you have lower high, lower high, lower high, breakout of that downtrend line, right? And what usually happens when you get those reclaims and breakout is the back tests. So I thought that we had the back test on this day right here. So it was what, last Thursday. So last Thursday we had a retest ish of the 21 DMA structure, but seems like it was not enough. We confirmed the daily reversal on Friday and then went sideways this week. And then yesterday looks like it might have been the back test, the retest of that downtrend line, the retest of the rising 21 DMA structure. That's exactly where I want to engage. And I'm not perfect. Ideally, you go at this point with a bit less exposure and you really nail your new exposure during that back test. I'm slowly going that way and improving to do that more often. And for me, maybe that's a good opportunity to talk about it. Uh, if every time that price is coming back into structure, even if this is for shakeouts like we had in the last few weeks, if every time that happens you reduce your exposure that much, or you even start to look at the short side and start to uh, not puke your exposure, but go a bit too defensive and even switch to the short side. uh, I've seen that a lot, and I was doing that as well, because you feel that every pullback into a rising structure is the start of a new pullback. But you just have to recognize where the odds are, and over time that's what I learned, and that's why I was very active yesterday, because I wanted to get back into the proper setup, the stronger names that did reclaim their structure last week and were pulling back into it. And yeah, more and more I'm treating those as opportunity instead of being traded and being defensive and going short. What happens when you do that is it's super hard to engage today. See, we have a bit of a gap up because of TSM earnings, but overall the market was shaping well anyway. Uh, and yeah, that's the kind of pullback into structure where I want to open that new exposure. Ideally, you have less exposure, you are able to de-risk, and then when it happens, you have space in your portfolio, in your new exposure risk, in your NAIR, to add one, two, three more position to bring back your NAIR to 2 to 3%. All right, that's the way I want to play the market on cycles, and that's why I engaged yesterday as well. Um, all right, so that being said, strong bounce of the rising 21 day structure. Let's see if we follow through on that today. I think we will, just based on pre-market action due to TSM earnings. So let's see if we can actually hold that gap. That's what we want to see today, right? It would be normal to see some backfilling action, so some fading action at the open. Uh, that's typically what we see on gap up day recently. But later in the day, and the close will be the most important, is we want to see a strong close, bread come in, confirm the price pullback setup. All right, that's what we want to see today. If we look at credit spreads, so internals, credit spreads were looking very good yesterday, and that's why I shared, and I said in the Alex Journal channel that this was my typical pullback setup, right? Because price was into a rising 21 day structure. Credit spreads are still trending and very weak below their own declining 21 day structure. So it means that we're still in a risk on market. Crypto was doing very well. That's another conviction booster, let it put that way. VIX spiked above the 21 day structure, but faded and closed very weak. It was rejected in those December's high kind of structure. So let's see how it goes today. We need to eventually go back below the 21 day structure. And finally, like we discussed, Bitcoin doing well. So yeah, that's another indication of a risk on market. Last one, Brett. So again, I'm talking about it since last week. We do have the price trend, but Brett sucks. And eventually we'll need Brett to confirm the trend. It does not hold me back on exposure or in trading. Uh, More so because I already have and already had good exposure from the start of the uptrend in December and early January. But it's always a good conviction to have that, you know, that you have the win at your back, and the breadth is strong and broad. So eventually we'll need to see that. So Vic is asking, in your game plan, you said you plan to continue to add if you can trim new exposure. What is the reasoning here? Because we're super early. That's the reason. Uh, so QQQE is just right inside the 21 day structure. Uh, when I wrote my game plan, there was no gap up on TSM earnings. You have to consider that. I write my game plan the prior night. So there's information missing, and that's why we make those morning session, right? To take the game plan, adjust it if needed with the overnight information that we gathered. Uh, and this morning it's a gap up, so obviously it will be played different. I'm not planning to add exposure at the open on a gap up. That's very different. And in the game plan as well, if you continue a bit lower in the focus list section, I also said that I wanted to engage those names on weakness in their 21-day move structure. So is it what we have right now? No, it's not. Everything in the focus list is gapping up, so not actionable for me. All right, so I hope it answered the question. All right, so market is done. Price action, Brett, internals. Let's review the portfolio. All right, so let's do mini charts. All right, so memory group doing well, just flagging above the 21 DME structure, rising 21 DME structure, nothing to do there for me. There will be a gap up again today. At this point, I'm just super patient, let it that the trend develop. These names can grind higher over tens or hundred of percent from here. Uh, all depends on the market. But I'm not in a hurry to choke those trades in what seems to be one of the top leading group in the market. So I'm very happy with SNDK, WDC. I still have 2/3 on each, so good sized. So I plan to be pretty patient. All right, iron did well yesterday. Kind of flat day in a red market. That's not bad at all. I'm really close to my 2R, so that's one that can be maybe their risk at the open. Rocket Company, nothing to do. It's just flagging, and it's honestly super constructive to see after that two-leg hop. So measured move from the 21-day move structure. Leg one, pull back. Leg two on that gap. And now it needs time to digest, to base, to build the right side, and that's okay. Let the 21-day move structure catch up, and then we'll be able to just be patient with the position as long as it keeps the 21-day move structure. CRDO, new position from yesterday, and gapping up as well this morning. So 21-day move structure, reclaim, back test. That's super textbook from my process, right? And that's a big base. That base goes back to September's high. Yes, we had those spikes, but that's still within the base. So let's see where it goes. Uh, it's either a stage 4 distribution base and it fails, or it morphs into that big multi-month base breakout, and ideally that's what we get insolve into. But we never know. When we place a trade, we focus on the short-term setup where the edge is, and we trust that because the market is starting a new uptrend. We trust that because Brett might expand. We trust that uh, we are in the liquid leaders, and those are all liquid leaders. Then we put ourselves in the position to have a bigger winner, right? But we never know. We focused on the short-term setup around the 21-day move structure, and we never know if it will fail or it will start a new big beautiful uptrend. All right, QBTS, probably the best setup yesterday, and I called that in the channel a couple of times. I hope you were able to get in. Let's see how it goes today, but it's all over, right? So you have Ionic looking prime as well. You have Rigetti Spaghetti. setting up really nicely as well. And you have not QBTS, COBT, I think. Same thing, looking very good as well. Tight at the 21 daily structure that's trying to curl up, and see the difference here, right? So we had a long downtrend, a pop above the 21 daily structure, and drifting down, right? The drift was down. Right now, what we have is drift upwards. So building is pressure is building. There's more buyers than sellers, and I think that today could be the day with good momentum in quantum stocks. Let's see. Um, all right, so Reddit, nothing wrong here. It's just basing above the 21 day structure. VRT new position from yesterday. Uh, we're building higher lows on the right side. We have a reclaim and back test. That was the setup. Let's see how it goes today. Oakload, reclaim, back test. That was the setup. Good entry. Amazon 21 DMA structure, reclaim and back test. And looks like it held yesterday. We're gapping up, so let's see how it reacts today. Bitcoin, nothing to do. That was the risk yesterday or night prior on that crypto pop. Just trading the 21 day structure. That's now on my core. I have two positions. So I initiated on the reclaim itself. That was a bit on anticipation. But Bitcoin itself, futures were above the structure, and then added on the 21 DME structure back there. So that's how I like to build a position if I can do so, and I did the same with Reddit. First initial entry here, pop, back test, higher low in the 21 DME structure, added here, and then I have two core positions, both there that make a bigger size runner, and hopefully we can see a new trend, but we never know. And finally, Solana, nothing to do, just trading the 21 day structure that's trying to curl up. So let's see where it goes. All right, so that's it for my portfolio. Now let's look at the focus list. And yeah, I'm not sure it will be actionable. So cars gapping up. Let me check. Yeah, cars gapping up 4.4%. NBASE is gapping up 2.5%. QBTS gapping up as well. Not that much. So if you have some weakness in QBTS, or you want to go for Ionic or RGTI, then there's still a setup there. VRT gapping up 2.5%, not more, not actionable anymore. Oklo gapping up as well. So maybe we have that gap up and fade, which would give you some nice entry on the daily reversal pivot retest. But as far as we have right now on that gap up, there's nothing more actionable. ALAB 3.4%. So you get the picture. That sucks. And I'm surprised I didn't get more question. I guess that you guys get more used to how I trade, because every time that I load on a pullback, and yeah, I didn't load because I already had the exposure. I just rotated out of mega caps and the stuff that stopped me out, and had it back in other fresher setup. But taking risk on those down days and flush into the 21 day structure, usually I get a lot of question. Why are you adding risk here? There's no guarantee. Maybe we break lower, blah, blah, blah. And I get it. I was in the same spot before. But the market in the last few years just showed that it liked to shake out right into structure and the next day just gap up and go. Or gap up, reel you in, you take exposure because you think that the gap is holding, and then all of a sudden, um, you get yeah, all of a sudden you get that fade and that flush that stop you out chasing the gap. So these can be very frustrating. So that's all part of the mindset of buying pullbacks. Um, you have to accept the fact, okay, that you put risk, but you don't know if it will hold or not. You just assess the odds, and when price is getting into the 21-day move structure, ideally rising, right? On a back test like we had yesterday, you just know that the odds increased in your favor. And then you assess, are internals healthy? Credit spreads, are they below their own declining 21-day move structure? Are we in a risk on market based on crypto, on VIX as well? Um, and you gathered you look at the liquidators. Are the pullback scan from liquidators is looking constructive? And yesterday's was filled with those reclaiming back tests. So when you get all that confirmation, my brain is just switching now to, okay, this is an opportunity. I put 2-3% NAIR, so new exposure risk, and if it fails, then who cares? I will look at the next trade. I'm accepting the fact that I put 2 to 3% of my account at risk, knowing that if it fails the next day, that's the cost of testing that pullback and that potential market cycle, right? But that 2 to 3% will get me 10, 12, 15% if that's a good market cycle, all right? So that's the brain shift that you need to make if you want to trade pullbacks. So we've done the market, we've done the portfolio, we've done the focus list. So unfortunately, nothing actionable at the open. I would really wait to see how this gap goes. Is it held? Do we have a fade? Do we? And we'll discuss all that in the swing trading pit along the day this morning. Just assess how things are going. If we do have fades and we see reversal pivots being retested, 21-day move structure being retested, maybe you will have some nice entry on weakness. So always look how to play a gap. For me is always the same thing. Wait for the gap and assess. If you get weakness, then that's an opportunity, not being treated by it, but that's an opportunity to add some exposure if you didn't had prior to the gap. All right. So I hope it's clear. Please don't chase that gap up with all you have. All right, so some questions. Good morning, Alex. What are your thoughts on H-Row? Seems to have been a leader from November low. Yeah, I personally wait when we have a very quick snap below the 21-day move structure, and that's kind of a big failed breakout as well, right? You have that September, December, and yeah, late December base structure that we had a breakout attempt, then failure, hard flush below the 21-day move structure, and that structure is now declining. So I would wait to see if it does that or if it does that. But either way, you will have more confirmation if you trade in the upper range of the 21-day move structure or on the back test. Oh yeah, that looks good. Um Healthcare, I know healthcare is on a tier. So you have those higher lows, right? Big beautiful trend, claiming leadership, pull back into 21 day structure, first higher low, second higher low. It's tightened up, a micro higher low as well at the 21 EMA. So yeah, you can play that reversal pivot. That's a nice chart. Where do you see how much is it gapping up? Oh, I'm using TradingView. We're still trying to implement uh, overnight quotes in TradersLab. So we don't have them yet. It's not accurate. So when we will fix it, I will announce. Yeah, that's a nice chart, LAU. So I played Oklo. That's the name that I had in the same group. But yeah, it's setting up the same way. Probably a bit too high from the 21 DMA structure. Look at that, but otherwise that's overall a nice chart. Yeah, same thing. Those are all the same names, right? Oh no, that's Autoports. Yeah. So it looks like these ice pick names. They all have the same chart, to be honest. They tried to reclaim the 21 DMA structure in December. They failed. And now we are reclaiming and building higher lows in the rising 21 DMA structure. All the spec plays, to be honest, all look the same. Look at Oklo. That's all the same thing. That's all the same chart. What else? Those QBTS as well. Whoa. It was stronger. It was keeping above the 21 limit structure, but you get the point. That's basically all the same setup all over the place. Big beautiful rally in September in those names, then pull back, then building the base, the right side. First initial pop in December, then failed, and building that back test again. USAR, that's rare metal, right? Ah, look at that. Same thing. That's the same setup all over the place. Big downtrend, first pop, failed, reclaim, backtest into rising structure. So will we have a failure again? That's all always possible. But all those spec names are setting up. And all the same way. That's all the same chart. CVNA. Yeah, on weakness, it's a bit too extended. It was in the scan yesterday. I decided not to include it because it was requiring a bit too much weakness for me. But I would look for the 21 day structure, to be honest. Wanted that guru confirmation. Yeah, I don't consider myself a guru. I'm just a regular guy in his basement. Trading is trading to make it. I'm in the same boat as you guys. All right. How do you determine an entry in Leli? Yeah, like I said, you can look for the daily reversal. So yesterday, high pivot as a confirmation. That would be a nice entry. Where's the cat? No, that's pandas in here. Only pandas allowed. But that's a big cat ish, right? So next thing you will see a real panda, uh, domesticated panda. You need bald head. No, I don't. Wifey won't like that. But if it allows me to trade like him, maybe. So RR. That's the same chart all over the game, guys. Look at the market. All the spec plays all look the same. Trend last year, pullback, first attempt to reclaim, then fail, then reclaim and backtest, building higher lows instead of drifting down. Uh, looks good. Looks good. Better work, but you never know. Oh, that's way too extended. Short term. That's too high from the 21 day structure. I think a good spot. So right now that leg is like the breakout, right? So you have that high, that high, that high. You have a downtrend line in there, right? And it goes right into the 21 day structure. So maybe it goes and just fly higher if Bitcoin is strong. That's a crypto miner, by the way. So maybe it does, but I I'm always okay to miss a trade if that's not a proper risk reward entry. And for me, the good entry, which is non negotiable, is right there in that area where we would have that downtrend line retest. We would have that 21 day structure, rising structure retest. That's the spot that I would be looking at. Oh, that's ugly. Why would you want to trade that? There's so many good setups right now, and you look at what was the leader for Solar, and it gapped down, went nowhere, starting to live below the declining 21 day structure. Yeah, I would stay very away from any Solar stock. Yeah, Guru is way better than a Furu. That's for sure. Uh, yeah, Tan must be the same thing. Um, if First Solar traded that way, yeah, that Tan looks like a double top to be honest. But yeah, leading stock in that group was First Solar, and it's breaking down and starting to live below the 21 day structure. And the question was about run as well. And I think that run looks horrible. It's going nowhere. It's super choppy, no trend. I would run out. I would run out seeing that. All right. Chim, yeah, nice one. That's a regional blank, but yeah, you get that double bottom right into rising 21 day structure. There's definitely a setup there. At what point do you consider selling into extension beyond 2R? So if we have like super climatic action, uh, and right now even in KDOS, you don't have that climatic. You don't have that largest price move a bit like this, right? That's climatic action, like that gap up. There is probably big volume and that big reversal in volume. That's your climatic action. Right now, it's still acting right. You don't have big range. You don't have those big gaps. Uh, and yeah, for me, that's if we have climatic action, then I would look to trim more. Or if the market, the McClellan summation and MCO is getting overbought, then that's another reason to start peeling off from my winners and my cores. Same setup. that's that's all over the place, guys. All the spec names look the same. That's a very low. Uh, that's not the type of stocks that I trade, right? I like bigger liquidity and all that. You know by now, but that's the same thing. Pullback, reclaim, fail, reclaim, higher low, building up the right side as well. Will it fail again or will we go? Then only time will tell. But that's all over the spec names. NXT from my friend Steve. No, not next. NXT. Oh yeah. So you have that big chop breakout back test. That's a much better entry than buying the breakout. Leave that to the IBD guys. All right. Buy the back test. Good. Yeah, I was watching that. It made a higher low. So these recent leaders from the past cycles are setting up, and that's also a good thing to see. So you have Palantir as well. So they started to build higher lows. So instead of building lower low, we're building higher lows. The same thing. So you can look for the reclaim in Palantir as well. That's a big base. That will come back into play. And that's the same thing with Tesla, by the way. Tesla started to create a potential higher low. So if we have some strength today and we don't do that after the higher low is trying to confirm, then we might have a reversal setup. So look at Hood, Palantir, Tesla, if those reclaim their 21-day mid structure, and speculative names also push from their backtest, then we have potentially a recipe for good action in the next few weeks. TSM, yeah, that was the leader. That's a very nice chart. Nice base. I don't know why it's not in my scan. It's very high on the RS rank. Maybe because of liquidity, I don't know, but yeah, that's definitely one of the top leader right now. Yeah, Labu, XBI, that was discussed as well. It's looking very good, but I just ate to trade Labu or XBI. When MCO is overbought, what is the criteria for removing stocks? No, I don't remove stocks. I never remove stocks. I will start to peel off a bit of size, so trimming a bit into strength just to reduce my open heat, just recognizing that the odds are not EV for me. So there's slowly switching off less favorable because when the market gets like extended and overbought, then the risk reward is less, and that's okay. So I want to trim a bit more, and once you get the pullback and once things are really sliding down, then you see that as an opportunity instead of having to react and taking big heat. Um, I don't have clear rules about it, but that's definitely if MCO and MCSI goes above one standard deviation, and you start to get weak action. All right, you will start to see me trimming a bit more into strength, even if they are way above 2R. And the last piece, I always want to trail the 21-day move structure. Yeah, exactly. Tesla, I think, is looking good as well. Not yet ready for me, but if you're looking to, why is it not working? There you go. All right, so yeah, that's the first constructive sign for me, being able to kind of confirm a higher low structure. But you know me by now, I want to see that thing above the 21-day move structure. I'm okay to miss the first, and I'm really okay to try to catch the back test as well. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You are much more of a sniper with your entries than me, so I know you will nail them. No, no, that's true. I just accepted the fact that I don't want to be a sniper. I leave that to you and Big Wave. All right, guys. So let's close that here. So gap up again. Be careful. Uh, wait for things to settle. Wait for some confirmation that the gap is holding, or if we get a fade, maybe a bit later this morning, midday, look for that fade to engage, but be very careful to buying strength of the open. That might be a trap, and we don't like being trapped. All right. So have a good day, everyone. Cheers. Bye bye.